All right, we're talking with Alen Tully from the St. Laurence O'Toole Pipe Band in Dublin. Alan, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on, Andrew.
No problem. Thanks for making the time. Really appreciate it. So, the book, the music collection. Tell us about Socru, the collection.
Okay, well, it's about 15 years in the making. And to be honest with you, it was never something that I had really kind of considered doing. I'd never seen myself before bringing out the book as a composer or prolific composer, anything like that. And I always looked at my dad, 5 books he's brought out, and I never even thought I'd have one, to be honest. And over the last number of years, the guys in the band have been saying, "You should really bring a book out, give loads of great arrangements, some good tunes." And really, what escalated it was lockdown, the first lockdown in Ireland due to COVID back in March. Um, and pretty much I did we had a conversation back in, I think, maybe June of this year, when we just set up the Write My Medley business. And it was at that time when I had started really composing. I'd probably written about maybe 10 tunes prior to March of this year. And because of the Write My Medley business, I'd written a heap of tunes, and every medley that I was putting together was just getting so much inspiration, like a lot of people during lockdown. And I just felt, now's the time, with composing some good tunes and lots of good music coming out, and all of my previous arrangements that I wanted to document. I just said, yeah, now's the time. Let's go for it.
Yeah, good stuff. So there's been quite a few silver linings, really, if we look at it from the lockdown, the coronavirus situation, including your Write My Medley service. Do you still find bands doing a lot of composition and looking to you for some guidance in that?
Yeah, it's kind of mixed with everything. It's people that are coming with just struggling for creativity, or pipe majors that have kind of found themselves in a pipe major role and never thought that they'd be pipe majors, and nobody else in the band would take on the position. So in order to keep the band competing, somebody had to step into the role. And some people just don't have that creativity, which is not their fault. They're good players, and that's what I'm here for. So that's been great. And as I said to you the last time we talked, the main reason for setting it up myself was mainly due to keep myself occupied doing something and keep my hand in, because I'm the type of person, if I don't have something to be doing, I'll find something else to do, golf or whatever. Um, and I didn't want to go down that path. I wanted to stay heavily involved in piping, and this was just a conduit to do that, and it's been great.
Good. And the creative process. Let's go back to your own compositions, and St. Laurence O'Toole has always been going back many years to when your dad had the band, always known for creativity. So what's your own creative process, for composition and arrangements?
Well, so previously the creative process was very much geared towards arrangements, and it wasn't, I wouldn't say, oh look, I'm going to sit down and arrange this specific tune into whatever. Out of pure boredom, I would finish dinner, put the kids to bed, and take out either the Blair chant or the Degar chant that I would have had at times, and sitting watching the telly, and I'd plug in an earphone and I'd just be playing tunes, and all of a sudden, you'd come across a tune, and I'd realize that I'd be playing it in a different time signature. I'd be messing around with something. Oh, this works. So then, go to bed, and it'd be in my head, and I'd wake up the next morning, and I'd have maybe advanced it a little bit more, and take out the Degars the following night, or the Blair chanter, and all of a sudden, you've a new arrangement done. Um, and that was the previous, I suppose, approach to arrangements, and it was more out of just playing some really good tunes. One of the ones that I arranged for the book, and I wrote a piece at the bottom of the tune, was Mark Saul's Ronnie's Blue Brozzy, and it's been arranged, several times, and I arranged it into a hornpipe, and that was just out of playing the jig over and over and over again, and dip into waltz time, and then dip in. It's like, actually, this really works as a hornpipe, and it just evolves. And then from the composition piece, has come really out of lockdown, and from Write My Medley. And I'd have an outline idea for a medley for a band that I'd be working on, and you'd have an open and hornpipe and a Strat spade, and you'd say, okay, well, I need a reel to come after that, and I need the reel to be in this specific key. And instead of opening up music books and going through loads of music to try and find a reel in that key. Thought would just come into the mind, and all of a sudden you'd have a reel that follows the Strats bit that you needed, and it's taken it from there. So, since I started writing medleys and putting together medleys, I've done about 10 medleys, not including the bands. So we have 2 new medleys now for the band when we do start to compete again. And just as a result of putting those medleys together, I've got about 30 tunes that I've written in the last 6 months, and I hadn't written 10 tunes prior to March. So it's been fantastic for me, and I've had a lot of fun with it.
Very good. So it sounds like the kind of volume of compositions that you've got going, it might be a second volume, a second collection coming out.
Yeah, well, but to be honest, from having never thought about bringing out 1 book to having enough music for possibly 2, there's, with the band medleys alone, there's 7 tunes that are in the 2 band medleys that are not in both of in the book, and so that'll be 7 without anything else, and there's probably another, I don't know, maybe 10 or 12 since I've put the book together that I've written.
Amazing.
It's great, and I'm just having a lot of fun, and I'm probably, to be honest with you, this is a side of piping that I'm really excited about now and motivated to do, which I'd never really been motivated about before. Kind of like solo competitions, I'd never really been motivated, but with no band, and 4 competition sets that you're just used to practicing and playing and setting up chanters, and when you don't have band practice, you're putting chanters together, or you're tying in bags, or you're doing whatever it is that you're doing that's probably taken away from time that you could be creative. Now I'm just spending time sitting on the couch playing the Blair chanter, and I've loads of time for creativity, and it's good for me.
Yeah, and speaking of creativity, the band has done some really quite impressive online videos of different performances that you put together. How do those come together? You must have someone in the band who's really really good with video.
Yeah, we do actually, and luckily we have Kyle Rothschild is he's the maestro when it comes to putting the videos together, to be fair. And if you were to have a conversation with him, I'm sure he could tell you some stories about the challenges that we faced and the types of conversations going back and forth between myself and Stephen. And poor Kyle was stuck in the middle of a lot of it, but yeah, like that came out of that whole kind of episode through the season, and bringing out recordings on the days of the majors was more out of a band decision to stick together and continue to make good music, because that's what we do. And I think first and foremost what the guys in the band wanted to do, and I think what it showed was that, some people are in pipe bands for the competitive side of it and winning prizes and whatever, and that's, in a lot of cases, that's a be on and end all. For us, we've never really approached the competition season in that way. While we're a born winner, like most pipe majors, for us it's about the music first and producing great music, and the winning comes after that. And guys in the band wanted to let that be seen this year, that it's not, for us in our band, it's not all about the competitions. It's all number one about the music, and let's keep doing that. Why should we not produce great music and continue to produce great music just because there's no competition season? Our band doesn't revolve around competitions; it revolves around great music, and I think you see that in the season.
Yeah, very good. So is the band practicing right now still, or what's going on?
After the World's finished, and it's strange saying that, and I've had a couple of conversations where that's kind of crept in with the season not been, with no season happening. But after the World's finished for us in August, we took a break like we normally do, and to be honest, we had a very busy season, because all of the videos that we put out was all brand new music. So it was all new music that we had learned during the year, and we did that purposely, as opposed to playing, music that we would have done at the concert last year. We did brand new music to keep ourselves busy, to keep everybody working, so that we had to learn the music, we had to learn new tunes. It wasn't a case of pick up the chanter and play tunes. We had to get the music out, practice for, nights and nights and nights in a row. And sometimes it was a very quick turnaround. You had like maybe 3 weeks to learn 2 brand new tunes, get it off perfectly, get a recording in matched with me perfectly, and then get it actually loaded up into a video program to get that set up. And it was tough. It was a tough slog, But I think the guys in the band would say we only had a conversation kind of last Thursday. It's our first chat together as a band. The guys would say that it was probably the one and only thing that kept them actually really properly playing during the year.
Mm.
Um, and we had a conversation Thursday to say, look, if there's no season next year, what will we do? And the unanimous decision with the guys in the band, with 40 members on the call, was let's do something similar. We'll try and be creative, maybe in a different way, but we're absolutely going to stick together. We're going to put a new medley together in the off chance that there is a season next year, which personally speaking, I can't really see it. But if there is a band season next year, we're going to start working on another new medley. And if we do get out in the park, we'll have two brand new sets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really interesting that how the focus seems to have been brought onto the music itself for a lot of people. Some bands perhaps have just gone away because they're driven by competition. Others seem to have kind of risen up and responded in a musical kind of way, in a creative way. St. Laurence O'Toole seems to be leading the way in that regard.
Yeah, and that wasn't, as I say, that wasn't a decision that we wanted to kind of be the leaders in any kind of aspect. We just wanted to do what we enjoy doing, which is, we're a bunch of friends, and to be fair, we are a bunch of friends, and we communicate regularly, and we play good music together as friends, and we just wanted to keep that going for the season, and that'll be the next year.
Yeah, very good. So what other positive things? I mean, we've talked about a number of positive things, the silver linings that have come out of the pandemic. What else are you identifying?
I think on a more of a global scale, you can see that the creative element and the competition element, the creative element and the composition element within the pipe band community has been fantastic. And you've got so many young composers that are, stepping up and coming to the fore and starting to, establish themselves. Well, particularly on Facebook and with social media, it's really the only medium where these guys can get the music out now. But there's a lot of young people who are, composing, writing tunes, and maybe wouldn't have had as much time to do that if they were focusing on solo competitions or band competitions during the season. And I think that's been a real positive for the pipe band world. And I hope that it's something that will stand to those people, but also the bands in general in time.
Yeah, yeah. So let's you've got the book, you've got the medley service, you've got the videos coming out from the band. You've talked about some really positive things. What about, why don't we wrap up? What tips do you have for bands trying to get through this whole ordeal?
Yeah, okay. Well, it really depends on the. I suppose first and foremost, it depends on the level of camaraderie within the band. What do the guys want to do? And you can't force an agenda on your band during these times because it's all done remotely. So, and you're not competing. So, sometimes we would hold people to ransom. If you're not a band practice or putting in the work, you're not going to play in the day. You don't have that kind of carrot or stick at this time in these circumstances. So, from our perspective, we've approached it from a collective decision. What do people want to do next year? If there's no season, what do you guys want to do? If you don't want to get involved, that's fine. If you want to get involved, great. And what's the majority? And so from our perspective, we have an agreement. Everybody wants to continue to be a part of it, and that's, for me, it's a starting point. Have your meetings with your band. We're going to have our AGM in the next month because it's an annual meeting. We need to have it, so that'll be on Zoom. Have your meetings. Have discussion about what road you want the band to take next year. And I've had a lot of bands come to me with Write My Medley, and they just said, look, we want to keep going. We want to keep practicing. We want to have something to kind of get us motivated. And this, for a lot of people, the medley service was seen as a motivation for bands to say, well, Alen Tully's going to write a medley for us. This is a great thing for the band to do. We've got some time to capitalize on this. So, let's use that as a motivation. And I will just say with the medley service, I'm looking to expand that over the next kind of couple of months. And we talked with some of the younger composers. I'm looking to try and integrate the Write My Medley service with some of the younger people that are out there who are now writing a lot of music, and to help them to get some exposure with their own tunes, with their own music, and to help me kind of bring the Write My Medley to the next level, because it's not all about me. And While Write My Medley has been great for me. Hopefully, I can help other people to get the music out there. And when bands do get back on the field, a lot of those younger composers can hear their tunes being played, and that's really why we write music at the end of the day.
Yeah, sounds like you're onto a really great thing, and a lot of positives coming out of it, and some good tips I think for pipe bands out there to learn from the example set by St. Laurence O'Toole. So Alen Tully, thanks very much for the time. Good luck with the collection. Good luck with the medley service. Good luck with everything, and really appreciate it.
Thanks. I appreciate you having me. Thanks, Andrew.